right, we're back again with Scott Nelson. So, Scott, we've talked about the various forms AI, NLP. We talked about machine learning. We talked about why now it's becomes a little bit more. It's more accessible cost-wise. But for equipment finance companies, specifically for our industry, Scott, um, how does this? How is this going to play out? Or is it already playing out with some of your customers? Into what is it? What problems are we solving? And you keep using the word predictability. You're not talking about predictability from a default predictability. That's scoring. That's a little different than predictability. So talk about that.
Yeah. Well, the first one of the first customers we spoke to about this, Jenna Morgan from KLC, what she said is, we have deals we shouldn't have done. Every leasing company has deals they eventually decide they shouldn't have done. And she says, how do we avoid that? And that was a natural prediction problem, right? I mean, the fact that there's a documentation of something you don't want in the portfolio, and there's all the capturing of all the inputs that led to those deals, that gave us an immediate, well, yeah, we can fix that. And every business, has interests in higher productivity. Productivity a lot of times solves all other problems, right? Right? If more, whether it's revenue or profit, productivity can be measured a lot of different ways. But when we kind of started to engage on this and we started to do our research, what we found is that one of the things that kind of highlighted the opportunity for AI and ML were fintechs. Fintechs are, you and I came back from the acquire or be acquired conference. Fintechs was like the dominant discussion topic, right? And there's always fintech sections in equipment finance. Everybody's worried about fintechs. Why are they worried about fintechs? Why are they so scary? Well, the first thing is fintechs are built tech to begin with. They have all their data in one place. And that's not the characteristic in equipment finance. So you asked about data marts. One of the advantages of data marts is you get the opportunity to put the data you care about all in one place so that you can then use it. And that's something that fintechs do naturally. So, what does that enable them to do? That then enables them to analyze the data and address whatever risks they may have. And if you can address a risk, if you understand a risk, you can move faster. That's speed, right? And that's probably the scariest thing about fintechs for everybody is how fast they move. And one of the reasons they move fast is they have a lot of data that allows them to understand what's going to happen when they move. Some of them are using AI capabilities to predict what's going to happen, but that's really where you want to get to, right? Is you want to get to the ability to be more productive through speed. You want to understand your risk. You don't want to make zero risk. You want to learn. You want to take risks, and maybe you don't want to die, but you want to take a risk and you learn from that risk, and then you get faster and better after that, right? And that was a problem. We call that the speed problem. The third problem that we really wanted to talk about was differentiation. When you're in a world with data streams, if the data streams are market level or national level and everybody has the same data streams, then everybody, is making the same decisions on the same data, and you end up competing on price or maybe competing on speed, but you don't have as much data. When you have a record of all your outcomes and a record of your business, you have mapped the instincts that you use to grow the business, to build the business. You've mapped your approach to credit, your approach to regions, your approach to classes of equipment. You have a tremendous amount of success that then the tools can automate. And that's what people talk about relationships. Well, your relationships are actually documented in your data. And so you have the ability to not abandon the relationships, but enhance them. And that's something I really want to talk about. I really want to make sure people understand is, one of the hardest things for AI is what's called judgment, and people are good at judgment. You should not think about AI as getting rid of people out of your workflow. You should think about AI as making all of your people much more productive and enhancing their ability, giving them recommendations, giving them the ability to not waste time on things that they shouldn't and not spend administrative time, below their cognitive level. And differentiation to me is people who understand, I'm good at what I do. I need to do it faster. I need to scale it. Right? And that's where this technology can step in. That's what the fintechs do.
I guess, and I'll end with this, but as you've been talking, I guess the practical application, and I from running big leasing companies to smaller ones, but if you, let's just say you had three credit analysts in the organization, and if you presented at different times each credit analyst with the same deal, would they have come up with the same answer? And not only the answer yes or no, but also in how they structured the deal. It's the
Yeah.
same thing as like you take 10 tax preparers, and you remember you used to hear about that, and you give them the same tax return, you give them the same information, and all 10, very few came up with the same answer that
Right.
would be truly by the IRS book, right? And so that was the idea that an analyst is looking at a deal, and this is not just about credit, but wouldn't it be nice to know, I wonder if we've ever done a deal exactly like this. And if we did, I'm sure we did, what did we do and what happened? Now,
Yeah.
nobody's got that time
Right.
to go
Right.
back digging through all your files.
Right.
Is that a good example?
Oh, that's a perfect example. Not only that, but those three analysts, each of them probably has a niche. Each of them is probably really good at one type of analysis, and they probably have a record. There's a set of their deals that had a much higher performance than other deals that they had, right? And so we've even had one customer ask us about funneling deals to the right analyst, right? Which would be evaluated by which types of deals did they get the best return on, right? And so you get a portfolio of analysts that help you do a portfolio of deals, and the driving common factor is return. You say I'm going to judge the end of this on return. And by the way, I have all my returns documented in my data, so I can tell these are the deals. This analyst really understands yellow iron. This analyst really understands over the road trucks. I mean, all of that information is not only available in the data, it's available to be used going forward.
Okay. Thank you. That is very helpful. We're going to go on next to the real money question.